performers, superstars are like behind the scenes. It's like, you know, kayfabe is dead, but here you are, you're showing heels and faces playing video games together. How do you feel that you've gotten that kind of audience, that feel?
The thing that I enjoy about it is being able to do that, because it's 2018. We know what wrestling is. We're all aware. It's not like you see anyone act in a movie and now you can't see them in another movie because, like, no, you're this character. They're like, you're walking. Wait, what are you doing? You're walking. You're not really Superman. What? It's like, no, it's not. That's not how it works. And so, to be able to have up, up, down, down, to be able to have, like you said, heels and faces playing video games against each other. We're all normal people with normal lives. But the fact that WWE is such a globally known product and people do know these characters in and out and they see them weekly, I think that's one reason why people sometimes do get in that zone of, oh, you are this character. It's like, no, this is just what you see regularly on television. So having up, up, down, down gives you the opportunity to remember and remind yourself, these are humans with lives, with families. They go out and eat pizza just like me. They drink hot chocolate just like me. They argue when they play games just like me. That's all it is, you know? But then I think that it also makes you enjoy those characters more when you see them on Raw, when you see them on SmackDown, when you see them at WrestleMania, because now you have a more relatable place to look at them from. So one of the things that I like to do is try to get guys and girls who you might not see on TV a lot, get them implemented on the channel more, because honestly, when I get to explain everything, when I get to a building, I'll try to find a room that's empty, and if it's not getting used, I'll clear the stuff out of it, set my stuff up, and I'll grab someone who's not doing anything on the show that day and say, hey, do you have 20 minutes to be on the show? They'll say yes or no, whatever they're doing. They get on, and we talk about whatever. They might talk about their favorite show, their favorite food, their favorite music, whatever. And then when that episode comes out, you see on Twitter people saying, oh, I hated Baron Corbin, but now I know that he likes death metal and horror movies. Now I like him a little bit. So now that person who knows what wrestling is, they get that they're supposed to boo Baron when they see him. Now they're booing him a lot harder because now they're part of the show. They're part of the game, you know what I mean? So that's one of the things on the backside that I think that Up Up Down Down has done to kind of help people. Not like it's changing the world or anything, but to those couple of people that enjoy it in that aspect, it's helping them, you know.
Thank you.
How has Up Up Down Down changed the atmosphere backstage, in your opinion?
Complete 180, because we used to not, video games used to not be allowed. And then all of a sudden, once it became a YouTube channel and it was generating money for the company, then it was okay. And now it went from, we call it the lab. When we set up the PlayStation or the Xbox, that's the lab, because we're in there and we're doing work, we're cooking. So whether we're playing fighting games or they're playing sports games, whatever it is. So I had my lab convinced Kofi to get a lab, and then when AJ got hired, he would bring his lab. He had an Xbox, and then Joe came up on the road. Joe brought his lab. English has one. Killian Dane has one. Shelton has one. So at its height, you might see 8 PlayStations going at one time in the locker room.
Jesus.
And it's like a rotating thing, because while we have the show to worry about, like, wrestling's what we do every day. So not saying that it's the easiest thing in the world and we can go do it with our eyes closed, but we know what we're doing when we're out there. So we need a way to relax. And back in the day, it used to be cards. Guys would play rummy or poker or whatever they would do. Or now we just do it on a screen. And for us, it's upped morale 100%, because not that we wouldn't hang out with each other, but there are guys who might not have been as close with each other. Now they've got a Tekken battle that they know they want to get to when they get to the arena, you know what I mean? So it helps in that respect. And honestly, that loosening everybody up, once we get out there in the ring, when we're performing, when we're going through whatever storyline it is that we're going through on TV, we're a lot more comfortable with each other. So words will fly a little looser and people don't get upset. A punch or a kick might go a little crazier and you're not going to get as upset. So it's definitely something that's very healthy for the locker room, I think.
Just to piggyback on that, I mean, if everybody got closer because they get to play, has it ever happened that two guys got a little bit more into it because of how one game went. They were like, "Oh,
Trash
a little bit harder in the face because I should have won that."
Okay, so I will say that it doesn't get physical.
Okay.
We never break it in that realm. I would say, even if guys have a problem with each other, we're all performers, we're all professionals. If there's an actual problem between guys or girls, once you pass through the curtain, we're working. We all have the same goal. So that gets left at the door. But when stuff does happen in the lab, that's when promos occur. And honestly, I feel like everybody's promo game has been going a little higher just because, like, you have to be able to talk trash over in there. And if you can't, you kind of get drowned out.
You mentioned that Up Down has been helping the WWE a lot, bring in money. With that being said, how much creative freedom or creative leeway do you get, or do you have all creative freedom, or does the WWE have a say on what you get to do on the channel?
They have a say. Obviously, it's in the umbrella of the WWE. So if we got the umbrella here, and there's like the network here, and that Up, Down, Down is part of that umbrella. It is its own thing, though. And so I would say that I've probably got like 92% creative control. So like I've been lucky enough to now have I have a team of editors, and I have essentially like a producer, so someone who, if someone contacts me about like they have got a game story I'd like for you to come through, I can pitch them to him. Or if there's like conventions that want to talk to me, like he helps me with that. So we've gone from me and 2 other guys to now me and 6 other people. So it's created jobs within the company. Yeah, there isn't much that gets taken out. The biggest thing that gets taken out is cursing. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's just because people get heated.
Does AJ curse a lot when he loses?
AJ doesn't curse.
Oh, he's a good guy.
No, he like as a human doesn't curse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you hear him curse, something has happened. But yeah, that's probably it. But for the most part, it's still a PG product, and that's not just because it's WWE. That's because that's kind of what I want to put out there, because I know that tons of kids watch, and like I have a kid. Eventually, like if he's watching YouTube stuff, which he will once he's old enough, if he's watching someone who's just cursing all the time, you might pick it up and think it's okay. I'm like, well, if that's your thing, cool, by all means do you. But for me, I try to keep it at a low level, you know. So I'd probably say that's the biggest thing that they like would edit out, if anything. But for the most part, like if you watch the show, if you watch like Raw and SmackDown, and you watch Up, Down, Down, you see SmackDown and Raw. Obviously, those are going on TV, so those are very like perfect lighting, perfect sound. It is a pristine product. It is fantastic. I try to make Up, Down, Down the complete opposite. So like I have like bad lighting. I make sure sound is okay, but I have bad lighting, and it's just like weird, and it always feels like we're in a basement, because to me, it's got more of a grassroots feel to it, and because it's me doing it, like setting up. It's like all my studio is upstairs in my room right now. I bring it with me everywhere I go. It's a briefcase with my laptop, my DSLR, my microphone, like my mouse if I need one, my rechargeable batteries. So I could set up right here and film an episode if I wanted to. So and that's why I like to keep it just like small and compact, so I can do it anywhere in the world. But that like lack of production helps me create more content. You know?
Thanks. You said that the WWE has say when it comes to your content. How do you get through with working with other wrestlers from other companies?
So when it's something bigger like that, we've got to talk to them about it. But honestly, I think that it's more of a good faith thing, because they've given me the leeway to kind of do what I want, and I haven't abused it at all. Same thing like with New Day when we're on TV. Like we've got a pretty long leash for stuff that we can do and say, and it's because like if the line is like right here, like we'll get as close as we can to it without going over it. I mean, we may have like once or twice, but for the most part, we don't abuse that privilege, you know. So they still let us do the things that we do, and I think it's in the same way. So when we do stuff with other wrestlers from other organizations, it's something that we should talk to them about. But luckily, they were okay to do it.
Which superstar would you really, really like to influence to get hooked into gaming?
To get them into gaming?
Yeah.
Let's see. probably, I was gonna say Gable, but Gable surprised me because I had him and Jordan on like maybe 2 years ago playing Mortal Kombat 3, and Gable knew Striker's friendship, which is like no one should ever know that. So probably Mike Bennett.
Mike Bennett?
Yeah, I like Mike Bennett a lot. He's very talented, very good brain for wrestling. We gotta bring him into the game world a little bit more.
All right, thanks.
Your New Day is huge with kids, the younger market. Can you talk to us more about the event that you had earlier working with the Special Olympics?
Yeah, okay, so we just got done doing stuff with Special Olympics. We were playing basketball. It's fantastic. Basketball is probably the sport that I'm the worst at. But it's really fun. And any time that we get to do stuff with Special Olympics, it's always a good time because being a WWE superstar is a lot more than just being in the ring. So obviously, like, flew here this morning, started doing stuff. And like, we don't have a show today. We flew out here to do this, and then go to Kuala Lumpur for 2 days,
Right.
and then back to the States to do SmackDown. So like, it's not always just wrestling. A lot of it is just giving back and being a part of the communities that we come and do shows in. So for me, when I was a kid, all I saw is like the fireworks and the traveling and oh my God, like these guys are famous, I want to do this. And then when you start doing it, like that part is cool, but then you realize there's so much more to it. And so it's just funny, we're trying to explain this to like kids in middle school. Like we're telling them like us coming and talking to you is like way cooler than us getting to wrestle. And they're like, what? Like what? Like no, you don't get it, because like when we were little kids, I lived in Georgia, in Atlanta, where WCW was, and so Cody Rhodes went to my rival high school, right? So we both wrestled.
Yeah.
But when we would have events at his high school, like DDP would be there, and Dusty Rhodes was there, and then Dustin Rhodes was there, Kevin Nash was there, Scott Hall was there, and so like I was losing my mind. And in my head, it's like, I have to win these tournaments because they're going to see it and they're going to want to trade me. Then I'm going to be a pro wrestler. I'm going to be world champion. Yeah. It didn't happen. But for me, it's just getting to go up and talk to them and saying like, hey, you know, like I want to be a wrestler. And then giving me like some sort of advice, saying anything to me. And I don't know, at that point, like I'm 16 years old, them just speaking to me, saying hello. Or like one time, so Dustin Rhodes, Gold Dust, he came up to me after my match and he was like, hey, good match, kid, and just kept walking. And like, it meant nothing to him, you know, but to me, it like changed my world. So to be able to have that kind of effect on somebody who looks up to you, like, you can't buy that, you know what I mean?
True.
So to be able to do stuff like that, do things with the Special Olympics, do things with any kids in any community where they enjoy wrestling and they look up to us, I don't know, it's hard to put into words. Like, it feels good because you can see the happiness on their faces, so then that makes you happy, and it's just like, it's amazing.
I have two questions. Obviously, you mentioned Cody, and obviously you knew him since you were young. Do you have a gut feel at all about what he and his new friends are going to do once they hit free agency?
Probably something awesome, honestly. And I'm always a huge proponent for people doing awesome things. So the more awesome things that happen, the better. And that is how I will answer that question.
Question number 2. Are you close at all with our homeboy TJP?
Okay, so we haven't crossed paths a ton. Like, we see each other in the locker room and say hello, but we haven't like spent a lot of time together. But he's always been very nice to me. I have never done anything wrong to me. He's always been very kind. So like, he's thumbs up for me with TJP.
Okay.
Oh, a follow-up for that.
Yeah.
What did you think about the theme song, the entrance that TJP had? Very 8-bit gaming.
I was incredibly jealous to the point where I remember they come up on the road and I heard like the music start, and I was in the ring doing something, and it's like, and I just looked, and I could see everybody around the ring was looking at me like, oh my God, he's gonna lose his mind. And I'm just like, whose music is this? What? And then I see him come out, but then like on the rampway, there's like all like the little coins and all the stuff. And I was like, So the utmost jealousy in my soul, but like also like I'm happy that someone's doing it, and then just so mad that it's not me. But it was good. Oh, rough.
Explain to me, what's this thing about the pancakes? They're asking me to ask you.
About the what?
The pancakes?
Oh, the pancakes.
What is it?
So okay, so people have asked us why we throw pancakes. I think it's been. So we've been throwing pancakes over a year now.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like that long. So when we were in the UK, not this past time, but last October, November, whatever it was, we had a handicap, or not a handicap match, we had a tag team lumberjack match against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And so, as you know, with New Day, there's 3 of us, so only 2 can be in the match, and the 3rd person is on the floor.
Freebird rule.
New Day rule.
New Day rule.
So it was. We have a rotation that we do, and so that night it was Kofi and E who was in the match. So I'm on the floor, but since I'm on the floor, I'm technically a lumberjack. But since I'm on the team, I'm chief lumberjack, in charge of all the other lumberjacks. So I enjoy cosplay very much, and I do everything that I can to blend everything I like in life together and just smash it and force it together. So I said, hey, wrestling, meet cosplay, you're a lumberjack tonight. So I got a flannel vest and like a little beanie hat, and I got an axe and a beard, and I was told the beard and the axe were too much, so I got rid of them. And then maybe an hour or two before we went out, he was like, without the axe and the beard, like, we need something else. I was like, what? And Kofi was like, like flapjacks. That's what lumberjacks eat. And I was like pancakes? And it's like, yeah. And it's like, all right. So we went to the guy who cooks for us and catering. And we're like, hey, can you make us like a plate of pancakes? He's like, yeah. And then we made some pancakes and I had them on a platter and I went out with the pancakes and we're just like throwing them around. And then like we didn't think anything of it. We thought, oh well, clearly a lumberjack would bring pancakes. Logically, this is what makes sense. And so the next week, wherever we were back in the States, and he looks at me and he goes, "You want to do pancakes again?" I was like, yeah, I guess. So we get a bunch of pancakes, and someone said, "Did you ask Vince? Did you ask Vince?" Like, Vince doesn't care, and we did it last week. It's fine. Like, about Vince wasn't there. He didn't see it. I was like, no, he sat right there and watched us throw the pancakes. Relax. And so then he's like, oh, just ask Vince. So because people get in that mode. And so right before we went out, we go up to Vince, and I remember he was first in line. He goes, excuse me, Vince. And he looks up, takes his headset off. Yeah. He goes, hey, can we throw pancakes at people? And he goes, what? Like, we did it last week. He's like, do you want to? And we all three go, yeah. He goes, okay. And then it's more than a year later.
It's like, hey, more pancakes.
So there's literally no reason
Is there like a
other than it's funny to us. So yeah, and when you explain it, like yeah, that's the logical progression, and we're always kind of trying to think like, what are we gonna do next? That's ridiculous. Like, what can we do? And as hard as we think, like we can never figure it out. Something just randomly happens, and then it's a thing. So like with the unicorn shirt. So ever since I was a little kid, all that I would read, I loved reading. I loved comic books and stuff. Stuff I would read the most, stuff about King Arthur, and stuff about unicorns. Loved unicorns. And I don't know if you guys had it here. We had this thing, Lisa Frank.
Yeah, we did.
All the folders and stuff. So I was like one of like the only boys in school who have like Lisa Frank stuff, and like I'm getting made fun of, like, oh, but I like unicorns. Leave me alone. And so the whole shtick behind unicorns is that the reason there's no magic now. Oh, Kim Possible. Okay.
On the fly.
Yeah. So
nice.
The whole thing about unicorns is there's no magic in our current world is because all the unicorns are gone. So when there's unicorns, there's magic, and the closer you are to a unicorn, the stronger the magic. So again, so it's talking about how we kind of get our own promos and kind of have a long leash to say random stuff. I was like, oh, what if we just said like we brought magic back to WWE, which makes us unicorns? Because like, oh, that's like from my childhood, something that I know. And so we said it in a promo and started like doing this, And then we just kept doing it literally for no reason, just because it was funny to us, because people like on social media, they're like, what, unicorns, what? They're like, okay, perfect, let's just dig into this. And then I think I was gone for like 2 weeks, and they like wished me back with their unicorn horns when I came back on TV. So then we started selling unicorn horns, and then we needed the shirt. And so I was like, well, what if we're like just like riding a unicorn, and we like kind of like drew up like a really bad mock sketch of the shirt, and the people who make the shirts made a good version of it, and they said it went across Triple H's desk, and he looked at it and was just like, what? I was like, do they want to do this? I'm like, yeah, this is exactly what they said they would do. He goes, all right, the other stuff works, sure, let's try it. And the whole point of it was that it doesn't look like a wrestling shirt. I don't ever want any of our shirts to look like wrestling shirts, because most wrestling shirts, it's like black shirts, random writing, and they're all the same. And when you see them when you go to a show, it's like a slew of black shirts up on the wall. And it's like, okay, cool, but I want my shirt, I want our shirt to be accessible to people who don't watch wrestling, because our shirts do go on Hot Topic. They are at Target. They are all over the place. And so the way that I knew it was working was because I was at the mall one day, and I walked past someone who had that shirt on, and I was like, hey, nice shirt. And the guy looked at me and was like, okay.
Like,
yeah. And I was like, oh, so you like wrestling? He goes, no. I was like, so why are you wearing that shirt? He goes, it's 3 black dudes on a unicorn. It's funny. And so I immediately called Coach E, and I was like, it's working! It's working! And so like that was it. From that point on, that was like the direction we're like, let's veer and just turn completely into everything that's not wrestling. Because from our thought process is, and I don't mean this in a bad way, like wrestling fans are going to watch wrestling. So those wrestling fans have wrestlers. They've got Kevin Owens, they've got Randy Orton, they've got Rey Mysterio, who came back now. Like they've got wrestlers, you know what I mean? And that is freaking awesome. And I love that for wrestling fans who like die hard wrestling. But we need to bring more people in that might not be into wrestling. So when someone's watching the show, they're watching SmackDown, and someone walks by the TV who doesn't watch wrestling, and they see us come out with a trombone throwing pancakes, I don't care who you are, you're going to stop and say, what is happening? And if you'll sit down for that 5 minutes to watch us do that, you might stay through the commercial break.
Right.
And then when wrestling starts up again, you might sit and watch. And then the next time wrestling comes to your town, you might go, oh, you're going to wrestling? Oh, what do the guys do the pancake thing? I like them. And then you might go with your friend. So we may have just sold an extra ticket. We may have just sold an extra shirt. Long story short, we may have just made a new fan. So it is not a show about wrestling. It's a variety show. So we need variety on it. And growing up in the era of watching Triple H, Stone Cold, The Rock, all these guys are badass. Sorry, excuse my French. They are amazing. But growing up in that era, now people, I feel like lots of people on the independents, lots of people in WWE, they want to be that character. They want to come out and just be angry and jacked and like throw everybody around. Like, that's cool. But if we have 50 of that guy, that show's not interesting. And so with New Day, we saw a void and immediately wanted to fill it. And luckily, thankfully, it worked out for us, because now I get to sit here and talk to you guys about wrestling.
Another question. You mentioned something about cosplay. So I just wanted to find out, like, aside from the whole wrestling persona, aside from the whole gaming up, down thing, would you have your top 2 characters that you would like to see you wear in cosplay, in like, and really nail it? As in, like, not just like homemade cosplay, but something that you would really probably invest money in, like Cobra Commander or something like that.
To wear it on TV?
Not necessarily. You can do it like in a convention, like, you know, like go around incognito or something.
So I do a thing called Dragon Con every year in Atlanta. Sorry for my dirty apple.
There's like a lot of DC cosplayers go there, and like they meet George Perez and Dragon Con.
Yeah.
Right.
So we do stuff every year. So like we're there for 4 days and we do 7 different outfits. Right. and I would say my top two would be on the list because we've already done it. So there's a cartoon back in the day called Gem and the Hologram.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we do stuff. So cosplay, when you cosplay as the opposite gender.
Gender bent.
Yeah. So you gender bent it or you crossplay. So we gender bent Gem and the Hologram. So instead of Gem, I was Jam. And had like a pink studded vest on and like a David Bowie lightning bolt and like a pink streak in my hair and like covered in like diamonds and like a microphone. And so like that's top two. But then this is hard because we also did Mojo Jojo from Pop-Up Girls.
Yeah.
But we did like full facial prosthetics and I had like a full like gorilla suit on and we had the helmet and it with the brain inside and it lit up and stuff.
Right.
So I those are my top two, but I've done those. I know I'd probably
Just
do,
give
like,
one. I mean, like,
just
it's okay.
one.
Yeah, just give one.
One that I haven't done.
You
I would
haven't
say
done yet, and like invest money in, and like really nail it, like just one time.
Probably Nights.
Okay.
Nights in the Dreams. Very obscure. It's a deep cut, but
So because of the King Arthur background,
yeah. So no, Nights is like
like Knights, huh?
yeah, from Sega Saturn.
Oh, right, the
Yeah,
Saturn game.
it's like he looks like a jester.
Okay.
Kind of, but I don't. It's like a girl, but like a boy. It's weird. You gotta just play the game.
Okay.
But yeah, probably that.
Thank you.
Hey, so Up Up Down Down has had its shares of salty moments on camera. So are there actually salty moments that happened off camera?
Oh
that
God,
were
yes.
awesome?
Oh my God, yes. So this is at some point in life I will have to stop doing this. I have to stop wrestling. I have to stop being in control of Up Up Down Down at some point in life.
Mhm.
When the time comes for me to stop doing Up Up Down Down, I still have footage of the very first Madden tournament we ever did.
Oh.
This was before the gaming channel was even a thought in my mind. So I had this thing called the Games Case. It's this big briefcase, and we play Madden. We were overseas. We filmed the whole thing over there, and it was $10 to buy into the tournament. First place got 80% of the money. Third place got 20% of the money. Second place got chopped by everyone in the tournament. Now the day of the finals, I can't tell you who was in it, or you'll have to see it if it ever gets released. The day before the finals, you could buy in to chop second place for $10. Pretty much everybody on tour bought in to chop whoever got second place. And the person who got second place is not someone anybody actually wants to chop. That's all I can say about it. Very scary times, but very funny. So, and I'm supposed to talk about wrestling too. Ask me some wrestling questions. So
I got
what's happening. Okay.
I got one. Back when you started as Consequences Creed,
Yes.
did you ever think that Apollo Creed's son would end up in 2 movies?
I am so mad about that. When I heard that they were making a Creed movie, I was like, clearly, I am the one person on this earth who has everything down pat about being Apollo Creed's son. There's no way. If they Google search Apollo Creed, it's Apollo Creed and then me. How do you not cast me as his son? But Michael B. Jordan is an amazing actor, and he's done an absolutely fantastic job, and I love the movie so much. I won't give any spoilers for Creed 2, but I will say that I ran out of tears.
Right.
I became dehydrated watching the movie. It hurts. I got a sore spot against Michael B. Jordan for being way better than me at acting. But I would love to
have a cameo?
The next one.
Yeah.
Not even, I don't
like
want
main.
a cameo. I want a role. I want a main role. I want to be Clever Lang's son.
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
And all these videos, if you're watching this, you heard that reaction.
Yeah.
We're in Manila. Okay? So cast me. Yeah, I think the movies they're incredible. They're so
Tell
awesome.
Warner.
But what's that?
We'll tell Warner.
Okay, good. Appreciate it.
Like
Thank
we
you.
were there at the
Yeah,
premiere.
Oh,
we'll tell
well,
Warner.
yeah.
Like,
Just take a sign.
Yeah, like-
Put my picture on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Clubberland
But
Junior.
yeah, the movies are so good, and I think one thing that makes them good is they're very. Rocky movies are well done pro wrestling,
Yeah.
and when you like actually break it down, like you've got this character that you love, and there's good things about him. Yes, he's got flaws, but he's got like human flaws, so like you care about him, and then he gets beat up, and you're like, no, please do better. And then he does, but then he gets beat up more, and you're like, oh my God, please do better. And then by the end, you're like, yes, and you feel good, and like that's why I think that people that love wrestling, I feel like they all love Rocky as well, just because
Yeah,
it's the
it's
same
true.
thing.
Yeah.
It hits on all the same emotions in like the very same way. Because to me, wrestling is Rocky. It's able to grasp you in ways that you didn't know that your emotions could be grasped and handled and tossed around. And then you realize that it's 4 in the morning and you're crying watching a movie about boxing, and it's like, what is wrong with me? And then the next hour you're like working out in the gym because you saw a montage. You're like,
Yeah.
why? I should be sleeping.
Like tires and everything.
Yeah, but that's the same way that I think like wrestling is good, because I feel like yes, it's something that happens 52 weeks a year. We've got 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown. NXT is like 2 hours like now. So like NXT, then we got the network. There's so much wrestling at all times that I feel like sometimes we get bogged down in it. But once you get to like WrestleMania and you're watching it and you remember like, this is why I'm watching all of this wrestling, because like all these amazing moments that like over the past year, like yes, I wish this storyline would have gone like this, or this guy would have won this match, or this girl would have been in this, like, but then when you get to WrestleMania, it's like, okay,
Right.
I know why I love this so much, and you have that emotion, and that again
You get it.
leaves you working out at 3 in the morning because they're like, I should be better. Ah!
Run in the desert or something.
Yeah. So yes, Creed is very good. To answer your question, I'm happy that they have movies.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Apart from facing the media and the activity later, can you just talk about a little about what you've done, since landing here in Manila? I heard you went to Manila Bay and you rode a horse-drawn carriage.
Yes.
And,
So we landed. The flight was like 15 and a half hours, and the first 4 hours of it, the plane was doing this, and I legitimately thought that I wasn't going to make it here. So I'm glad to see you guys. But we got off the plane. Like I said, got off the plane, went right to Manila Bay. I was given this beautiful instrument, and didn't actually ride the carriage. I got on the top of it and sat and played. And we took some pictures. Then I had some soda in a bag, and I held a little red chicken.
Yeah.
So I made a friend, and then we came to the hotel, changed clothes, came in here, talked to some of you guys, then went and changed clothes again, and then went and did the basketball thing with Special Olympics, and then went and changed clothes again, and then came in here now. So yes, it's been very eventful. Yes.
It's barely 24 hours.
Hi, in terms of The Sims, what are the 5 bars that you juggle and balance?
So I can't answer that because I don't juggle them.
Okay.
Because I've been told I play The Sims wrong.
Okay.
So this is terrible, I'm saying this on camera. So I would build a family, right? I'd put them in the house, and then I'd wake them up at 3 in the morning and make them go to the backyard. Then I'd box them in and leave them there. Speed up the time. So when you speed up the time and you can't go to the bathroom, they just pee on themselves and they get upset and they cry. And then when the Sims die, they have tombstones. So what I do, then move another family in, do the same thing with another family. So I made a full haunted house, so I had 30 tombstones in the backyard, right? Then you make your real family, right?
Make them live there.
Well, the family that you actually want to play the game with. Put them into the house, and then you'll notice at the witching hour between 2 and 3 o'clock, ghosts show up.
Yeah.
But normally it's like 1 or 2 ghosts.
But they have
But
like
if you have 30,
32.
you know,
It's gonna spook the hell out of
your
me.
house is full of ghosts and it's hilarious. So I don't let the characters go to the bathroom so that when they get up and get scared, they all pee on the floor. And it's hilarious. So there's really no end game for me. It's just me laughing at people peeing on the floor. That's how I play the
Some
Sims.
people just want to.
I think that answers your question.
Okay, thank you very much.
So let's say WWE decides to have a trios championship, and you guys would be one of the one in the match. Who would you like to face on the opposite side?
Sanity, definitely. Lucha House Party. Any actual trios. They change the rules up. We'll fight the Riot Squad too. I know Ruby Riot would beat the crap out of me. All 3 of them would beat the crap out of me. I don't know. We wanted to do something with the Usos, where like they got a third.
They're like their dad.
Yeah, so like we were thinking like maybe their dad, but like they've got like younger siblings and stuff too that who wrestle. So like I don't know, going either way with it. But I think it'd be cool. But then at the same time, the show's so packed already, and I'm never a proponent for like adding titles when like stuff's already full, and then you just go like, oh, then we should add like another hour to the show, but then you add another hour to the show, and then people who already have time end up getting more time, and people who aren't wrestling and they're hanging out in the back, they still sit in catering, and it's like, no, like I want a system where everybody's always doing stuff, but obviously that system can't exist because the world's not perfect. So it's just like, it's weird problems that you can't fix easily. So I don't know. Now we're getting into weird realm. But no, it's trio titles would be interesting, and it's cool when you see them on like other organizations. It's dope. So like I think Chikara had a trios title. New Japan have trios?
Yeah.
New Japan has trios. Yeah. So it's cool that they do exist, because then there's always that like idea of like fantasy booking, like what would happen if they were in WWE.
When it's all said and done, how would you want your legacy to be remembered with wrestling? Like Creed 2's, like the theme there is the legacy.
Yeah.
Like, the personal struggles and all that.
Yeah.
Fighting in the tag team. For you, like, how would you like yourself to be remembered in that organization? Like, a non-Wikipedia entry, if I may. Like, something that you would personally want people to remember you about.
I would want people to remember the effort that was put in to get to this point. So I'm not really one for like the 16-time champion and all that stuff, because it's like that stuff is cool to me, but I want people to eventually realize like how difficult it is to not only be, and this is going to sound super conceited and I don't mean it this way, how difficult it is to not only like become a WWE superstar, but then to become successful as a WWE superstar, but then also creating a YouTube channel that puts out content pretty much daily, while also going to conventions and making sure that like I'm not losing like my roots, because like that's all I did when I was like before I got here was go to conventions, go to Dragon Con in Atlanta, go to Anime North in Toronto. I'd bounce around everywhere that I could, and so I make it a point to always go to those things, because like those are my people, like that's where I came from, and I think that those are the people that were rocking with me when I wasn't doing anything big, so I want to make sure that I'm still rocking with them when I am doing bigger stuff. So I want people, or people who come into wrestling or want to do things, like I want them to understand like the actual struggle and what kind of hustle it takes to get to a point like this, because it's very, very doable. Because like I said, like I'm wrestling, I got the YouTube channel, I have like a family, like these are things that can be done.
Studying.
Yeah, like
the PhD.
You can manage your time. So, and I'm not saying that like all kids that have a dream like need to be doing like 19 things at once, but when people say stuff like, I don't have the time. No, you have the time. You just don't want to make the time for something else, which is totally fine. I'm just not one for excuses. So I feel like and I'm sure you've been in a situation where you've got friends who say like, oh, you know, I want to do this, this, and this, like with my career, or I want to do this, this, and this with my life, but I just don't have the time right now. You know, I'm doing so many things. So like,
To make
what? I'm doing too many things, and I'm still getting all of them done. So I want people to come into wrestling that want to grind, that want to work, that don't make excuses about stuff. Like, either get it done or just say that you don't want to do it, and that's totally fine if you don't. But just don't give people the illusion of like it can't be done because you're too busy. And that's a very weird way to answer that question, I think.
But I get it.
Right.
I totally get
Yeah.
it. That it's never easy, but you just really have to like put the time in and like.
Yeah.
Totally get it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Who hasn't asked a question that wants to? You asked one. Okay.
I actually got one of your pancakes in.
Ah, okay.
I went away a few days later.
Okay.
It's not crusty enough.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't keep it.
Any chance of the WWE having a show here anytime soon?
I hope so.
Yeah.
We're looking at Wayne?
No, we're looking at the kind of suit.
Oh, he's pretending to.
He's eating
Are we having a show here soon?
Over pancakes, probably.
Give us next week.
Okay. Ask him next week. Hopefully. So, as you know, like we do tons of overseas stuff, and we have been here before, so I don't see why we wouldn't come here again. So hopefully next year we're doing a show. And if not, maybe I'll just get to come back and hang out with you guys by myself.
Yeah. Pleasure trip.
Okay. Since you have this YouTube channels, Up Up Down Down, and there, everyone can see like the lighter side of all the superstars. I mean, what's the state of kayfabe nowadays?
I mean, it's been gone since what, like 2002, I think. It's something that at one point in time, it was very important to wrestling. At in this day and age, especially it being 2018, everyone knows what it is. Everyone gets it. And I think that if we were to try to stay in that realm, it would handicap a lot of people into bleeding into a lot of other worlds. So like, if we said, okay, so kayfabe is a thing, and we can't do this, we can't do that. So that would probably make it so I couldn't have a YouTube channel, because in kayfabe land, I'm in the clouds with unicorns eating pancakes all the time, which would then cut me off from being able to create a job source for myself after wrestling. So I think it's good that we are where we are. But then also at the same time, there are some people who I've seen, because you'll see random stuff on Twitter, and it's like, oh, you know, kayfabe dead, because like, oh, these people are playing video games. It's like, yeah, but like, all these guys who like are Hall of Famers have podcasts where they talk about wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, that's fine. No one looks at Game of Thrones and they go, wait, she was Khaleesi, she can't be in Terminator? Like, we're working actors and performers playing a role. Like, why would we not do something else in order to make money? So that's always an interesting thing to me, and I feel like the people who like always like harp on it are like the old school, like super, like back in the day wrestling fans, which is like, great, we need those people. I love those people. They love wrestling. But at the same time, those people have to understand how to evolve into the next era. So when you see people say like, oh, there's people use super kicks, and like that's Shawn Michaels' thing. Like, oh, super kicks should beat people. It's like, well, before super kicks beat people, suplexes beat people, and things change. And then probably in the next 20 years, there will be I don't know, you'll need 619s to beat somebody. You need like 12 of them to beat somebody. And that's like, I don't know. We don't know where it's going to go. But like, wrestling is where it is. It's constantly evolving and breathing. It's a living thing. So like, when you see stuff like that, it always pains me. I'm like, why can't people just enjoy it? Yeah. And you didn't ask this question, but I'm going to talk about this anyway. So to that point, when people talk about the difference between like organizations, not even organizations, between like NXT and the main roster. So when they say like, oh man, TakeOver killed at SummerSlam, this is gonna suck, bro. It's like, it's all the same company. What is there to complain about? You just got an awesome wrestling show on Saturday night. You're gonna get an awesome wrestling show on Sunday. Then you're gonna watch Raw on Monday, and then SmackDown Tuesday, and NXT again Wednesday? What are you complaining about? What? Like, it blows my mind. Like, you have so much good wrestling. And then, like, you can watch New Japan. You can watch AAA. Like, you can watch so much wrestling from all corners of the world. And it's all awesome and it's all good. And it's all different guys and girls portraying their form of art that they love, that they want to give to you. And so anytime anyone complains about wrestling, it's so annoying to me because people come off as these, like just entitled infants. Because in reality, wrestling hurts so bad. And then we're hurting ourselves to entertain the masses, and then sometimes the masses want to tell us how much it sucks. What? Come on, man! So I don't know, I got on a high horse for no reason, but that's my 2 cents about that. So it's fine. But yeah, who else has a question that hasn't asked one?
I have a question. Knowing people like Triple H, Shawn Michaels, people like them, they're now working behind the scenes aside from working in front of the camera. When you eventually come to the point when you are about to retire, would you want to get the same opportunities to work behind the scenes? Maybe help the stars of tomorrow?
When I'm done, I'm done. I don't know, the I've like lightly been toying with the idea of like having a school in Atlanta. Very lightly. But it would be attached to my arcade bar that I have. So, I go to some of my friends' schools sometimes just because being able to do the stuff with New Day has given me a very different look on wrestling. Where I was going to say the kids that are at the schools, like the people who are training at the schools and stuff. They're, how do we do like perfect rolls and like how do we do perfect like moonsault, this and that. It's like, honestly, like it's not important. Like, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but the least important thing about wrestling is wrestling. It's about how to get people to become emotionally attached to you. Then they will care about the wrestling that you do. So being able to come out, so I'll use New Day stuff as an example. So we always try to touch on something that no one else is touching on. So that sounds ridiculous. Tumblr, for example. So you guys know Tumblr, and you know about like the seedy underbelly of like fan fiction.
Yep. Okay.
So yeah, he's like, I'm listening now. So like, no one has ever talked about that on TV. So we had an opportunity. Something came up. I was like, oh, let's make a reference to fan fiction. And so we did. And then, like, the fan fiction community, because I'm on Tumblr, I'm not going to say what my name is. The Tumblr fan fiction community was, like, losing their minds.
Right.
Like, there's, like, gifs of, like, New Day knows about us, burn everything! But, to me, like, that's what I would want to see if I was wrestling. If I'm part of a community like that doesn't get any love, and someone says something about us, I'm rocking with those people forever. So, anytime that we get the chance to, like, reach out to, like, 2% of people here, 2% of people there, 3% of people here. After a full year of that, now we've got like 80% of people who die hard will rock with us no matter what. You know what I mean? And that has nothing to do with the wrestling. That's saying, hey, let me tell you about fan fiction, and you going, whoa, shut up. Now they all go,
that's my guy.
New Day gets us. Like we're with those guys, you know. And so it's little things like that that I think help you attain certain levels of success in WWE. Obviously, if you're just trash at wrestling, that's not going to help you. But being able to elicit certain emotional responses is definitely going to help you more than it's going to hurt you. Because if you notice, over the span of time, people who have gotten to the highest levels of success in WWE are the people who can talk. And you go back, and I feel like there will be, and at least for me, maybe not for everybody, there are going to be more instances where you'll remember a certain promo that somebody did rather than a certain match. Or a certain promo is going to stand out more in your mind. So let's say like...
Hard Times.
Yeah. Hard Times promo, Dusty's. Yeah. Even the promo between like, it's Mick Foley and The Rock when they're doing like, This Is Your Life.
Yeah.
For The Rock. Like, hilarious. But then if we go matches, it's like, okay, it takes me a little bit longer. You know what I mean? Granted, that match between like Stone Cold and The Rock, when Rock suplexed him onto like the grates of like the entranceway to mess up his knee. It's little things like that. It's like moments. I can't tell you who won that match, but I can tell you about like little moments in the match. So like my favorite match of all time is Shane McMahon and Kurt Angle, King of the Ring. Yes. And it's because I can't remember who won that match either. But I remember the part when Kurt is trying to throw Shane through the glass, and he throws him the first time and he doesn't go through. He lands on his head on the concrete, but then he eventually goes through it, and then he throws him back through the other way. So I asked Kurt about this one time. I told him, I was like, that's my favorite match of all time, just because like emotions, like I was losing it, just that part was so much. He goes, you know, when I threw him back through the glass so the camera could see him, he goes, I threw him through twice and he didn't go. And he said, Shane kept saying, throw me through it. And it's like, that to me, I was like, what? So it's little stuff like that. So again, it's not the wrestling, it's the moments you can create. So you create moments with promos, you create moments with certain things in matches, but it's eliciting that emotional response from people that I think is going to get you to the next level.
Hey Austin, you got time for one more, so you gotta...
I'm having fun though.
Oh yeah? Okay, two?
Okay.
Last two. Choose wisely.
You haven't asked a question.
Yeah, I have a question. Say the main roster is pretty stacked because of the emergence, the call-ups of several NXT superstars. And the team has also been doing programs with The Miz, who is a singles competitor. So, given that, I would like to ask if there's any NXT talent or NXT talents who the team or you personally would like to have a program with in the near future.
There's so many. Like everybody. It's like, legit, there's so much talent. And there's so much talent you guys don't even know about that hasn't made it to TV yet. Like, they're so good. Probably New Era. There's 3 of them.
Yeah, Undisputed Era.
Why did I say New Era? That's a shoot. Undisputed Era, yeah.
There's 4 of them.
There's 4 of them now.
With Roddy.
Are they healed up now?
Yeah, they're all healed.
Yeah, okay. It's hard for me to watch wrestling. Thank you so much. Let me see. What's Dawkins?
Street
Yeah,
Profits.
Street Profits. I've got a very soft spot for Dawkins because he was in developmental. Like, he came in like while I was there, and I was kind of just like tried to get his head straight. Like, hey, it's gonna be okay. Yeah. But he's killing it now. Probably Evil DIY.
Oh,
yeah.
both of them. Yeah. Yeah.
Just saying, it looks like it's going that way. There's no spoilers. I don't even know what I'm doing next.
Evil DIY.
But yeah, there's so much talent. But yeah, those. But honestly, everybody. Like, I want to do stuff with like Ricochet. He's killing it right now. EC3. Like, legit, I get like everybody down there is so good. It's just it's one thing that I think is hard sometimes is that transition from NXT to the main roster. And I say that from experience because I was the first one. Like, once we have the Performance Center and made NXT. Granted, I wasn't on NXT really like, for like 3 times. I worked maybe like 9 or 10 dark matches. Like, me and Ambrose would always start off NXT before they started taping. And then he got called up. And then I got called up. And then he did cool stuff. I didn't do anything for a while. but yeah, now it's a different thing. But yeah, everybody pretty much.
Hi. So we've come a long way from like wrestlers being forced into this mold of like stereotypical alpha males. What can you say to kids who still get bullied for liking stuff like unicorns and Lisa Frank and that sort of stuff?
I tell them that those people who are closed-minded enough to bully you are going to be the ones asking you for an autograph on your action figure one day, because they're the ones who don't stick to their guns. They're the ones who are insecure to the point where they have to make fun of you to feel better about themselves. So do not be swayed by a bully. Actually, be nice to a bully, because then they'll be very confused.
Yep.
And then when you do become famous and they do ask you for stuff, they're going to be like, man, that guy was always super nice to me, and I was really mean to him, and he'll be ashamed, and he won't even be able to ask you for an autograph. So you win because you're successful and they're not. And that's, I'm not speaking from real life or anything at
all right, guys, let's give Austin a big round of applause. Yeah.